I remember when I wrote that little extra beat in there, I was like, I'm a genius, dude.
You must be just saying that constantly, huh?
Hey everybody, Alexander Morgan here, but my friends call me Schmorgle. Since starting this Schmorgle project, I've seen a few of you sort of dig deep into my short catalog of older music. Most people who do that usually find an album I made in 2015 called For the King. First of all, thank you for even listening to it, and those of you who have listened to it have been asking about it. So I thought today would just be a little chill story time. I'm just gonna spend some time chatting about that album and recalling stories from the process all those years ago. This video is admittedly not for everyone, but enough people ask me about it that's the bare minimum for me to start talking about myself.
I'm still a piece of garbage.
A little bit of context, I just graduated from college where I was studying to be an actor. I was actually awarded some money for, I don't know, being good enough student, I guess. It was called the Betty Davis Award, and most people who got that usually put it toward their career, put it toward acting classes, put it toward new headshots. Maybe some people even put it in their savings, saving it for a rainy day. Not me. I put it all towards an album. I was holding a serving gig at the time, and I would work long hours, and as soon as I was done, I would hop on a train, head to Brooklyn, to Riff Studios, a studio I've mentioned 1,000 times, and I'd just get to recording with every hour I had left in the day. It was kind of a special time when I think back on it. Like, I was so tired, and I was working really, really hard, making just enough money for rent, food, and trying to record as much music as I could. I wanted to make a whole stinking album. Ambitious. I knew from the very beginning that I wanted to make a concept album. I was really into the indie alt-rock bands of the day like The Deer Hunter and Thrice and As Tall as Lions. Side note, the singer and writer of As Tall as Lions is now the producer of Olivia Rodrigo's album. How times change. All three of those bands had albums with really focused through lines. For example, The Deer Hunter had a bunch of albums that were labeled Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, very theatrical. Coming from a theatrical background, I couldn't help but let some of that bleed into my aesthetic as well. So I really wanted it to be big and grand and have a larger-than-life quality. And from there, the theme really came easily to me. At the time, I was really frustrated that I didn't have a lot of control over my life, pretty much all things in it. I just felt like I didn't have a ton of autonomy at the time, and I was frustrated with my boss at work, with our political leaders and politics in general. My relationships with my friends and loved ones were complicated. Your early 20s are full of these confusing steps and missteps, and I felt like I had zero control over any of it. And so I was writing about this sense of control and power, the way that we give power or that we allow people to have power over us. All these feelings, along with playing just maybe a few too many video games, led me to the analogy of a kingdom. I had this image of a tyrannical ruler with this massive expectation of his plebeians that he controls. Very dramatic. And it was exactly when that idea clicked, while I was steaming milk for an oat milk latte, that the melody for the titular song For the King just rang through my head.
With our time on the earth.
From there, it all just really began to fall into place, this roadmap of how I would explore these different ideas of power within these little metaphors. And I just kept running with it. This energy just kind of kept propelling me forward. And that energy came through with these bombastic lyrics and these big chords and these giant sections. I mean, so many layers. If you think I layer stuff now, this album is stacked. I mean, like triple guitar takes, 15 harmonies on top of each other, 30 tracks of percussion with me like hitting bottles and pounding the floor. It was like a Candyland of sound. This track called The Flood is the second song on the album and is probably by far the heaviest thing I've written. I really wanted to paint the picture of this tyrannical leader. For the King was the chorus of the play warning everyone about what was going to happen. The Flood is introducing us to our anti-hero. I mean, hell, I dropped my guitar down to low C, so I meant business. This tyrannical overseer was the clearest metaphor in my head, and I wanted to kind of get it out of the way, really paint this like Eye of Sauron image, and then sort of dance around the other sub-metaphors beneath that. which leads us to Hourglass, the sort of more lighthearted, poppier song on the album. This is actually one of the first songs I wrote out of all these, and I started playing it with my live band at the time. So there's a lot of influence from them. A lot of the parts were written in a rehearsal room.
When Boomer was in, we were talking about how incredible the band was, how everyone brought so much to this,
Yeah,
the whole project, really.
We got tight as hell after playing a bunch of the science stuff live.
So because of that, this song wound up being the single for the whole album, but really in my mind is kind of the least connected to the rest of the songs. I don't say that necessarily in a bad way. I think it's a good song in its own right.
Is there a chorus in this song?
You didn't tend to write choruses.
Oh yeah, what's a
from
chorus?
what I remember. This only happens twice. This chorus, and it ends not even halfway through the song. You don't go back to that.
Yeah, I know. It makes no sense almost.
It was a big lesson to me how important it is to monitor how much collaboration you have. I think it's good to collaborate. I wish the rest of the album had more collaboration. But you can also let people influence you too much, and sometimes it's good to just pump the brakes a little bit and stick to your instincts. And that is exactly what I did with the next 3 songs on this album, and the 3 that are my favorite. Animals is an insane song and has so much layering, too much layering, one could say.
This was, I remember, being one of the most fun to build.
Yeah, this was a labor of love too.
Yeah.
Because we recorded quite a bit.
It almost feels like it belongs in like a rock musical, like a rock opera. Like a whole cast of musical theater people should just be singing the big, "Are we waiting?
Are we waiting for these caves
Hell
to
yeah.
come crumbling down?"
So many harmonies, a lot of pulse. One of my favorite guitar tones I found in this whole record.
Is that all plugins? Or was that a pedal?
It's definitely, we got a compressor, this Manny American delay.
It's a lot of wave stuff, yeah? Can you,
I don't remember
Can
the-
you reverse?
Track.
Oh.
Yeah, what's this?
Oh, it's just chords.
Da-da-da-da.
To this day, one of my favorite compositional pieces, though it is a little over the top.
Here we go.
Oh, we have another layer of drum swells. Chimes. Okay.
Chimes.
Sleigh bells, because Santa
it's
Claus
Christmas.
is coming to town.
Yeah, the song's about Santa.
A lot of people don't realize most of the record's about Santa.
Yeah, the whole like the king is Santa. That's like the whole allegory.
I think there are just some really, really cool changes in here, and it's one that I can listen to this day. Megalomaniac is the only piano tune on this album. I actually was working on this short film when I first moved to New York, and I had all these sort of dreary, darker pieces. This was one of the ideas that was not chosen for that short film, so I wound up reworking it into a more proper song. So because of that, there's a very cinematic, sort of brooding element to it inherently. This also is the song that holds some of my favorite lyrics I've ever written. I was thinking about people in my life, and I was thinking about Donald Trump at the time, and how much anger could begin to fuel my everyday existence. And it got to the point of where, like, if Flood is like screaming, hot anger, Megalomaniac's the really cool, cold anger, the sort of dagger. It's those people you know in your life who are just so deeply caught up in their own BS that at a certain point you have to just throw your hands up and go like, you're lost and I can't have anything more with you. That's what this song is. Lastly, Rancor. If Megalomaniac's sort of building up this vitriol, then Rancor's turning that vitriol into action. The song is about overcoming adversity, quite literal adversity, obstacles in front of you and obstacles in your head. This came from an old peer of mine where I was incredibly jealous of what they had as an artist, and part of me maybe even felt like they didn't deserve it. Now with retrospect, they totally did. They worked harder than me. But that feeling of comparison really plagued me in my youth, and taking down comparison was like taking down a big beast, which essentially is what Rancor is. A massive beast of jealousy and frustration.
All right, Rancor.
Rancor.
Rancor. I mean, probably the best song on the record.
I think it's my favorite and most people who know this record's favorite song for sure.
One harmony that's doubled.
Nothing
Pretty
crazy.
simple, like.
This was the section that took a million years to get right.
I remember this taking a while, yeah.
I did so many takes of this.
We have the D-Dooms, the beat boots.
And Guitar One.
Guitar One, .dupe 1.01.
Amazing organization. When we got this right, I knew the song was there. This took forever.
Yeah. I don't know, how do you even, like, imagine all these parts? How do you write this?
So this is one of those sections where I never got it to where it was in my head, but I wound up liking like what we did inevitably better. It was the struggle of trying to one, recreate it, and two, just like be happy with where I got instead of trying to get it perfect. You know, it goes to show you too, I think, in my head, it's like we have like 1,000 tracks. I mean, like, we have a lot, but it goes to show that there's a lot of mileage out of stuff, and like paring things back is not as hard as it seems.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. With fewer tracks, you can make a bigger sound.
It's true.
Less really is more sometimes.
Yeah. In this case, kind of.
In this case, it failed. Failed miserably. Oh yeah.
The big theatrical part. Whoa. That's dope. I don't remember that at all. Can we just isolate those hays really fast? So that's a lot. I think that's like people and friends in the studio. It's also I remember for sure I recorded my parents and I.
Yes, I was going to say that. I think I remember getting a message from you like, hey, I'm going to send you some vocals from my living room or something with my dad shouting, hey.
Is this what you waited for?
I remember this killed my vocals.
I thought, didn't we have a conversation about like whether or not you should hit it that high or if you should sing like a lower, or was that always?
Yeah, I think I had exactly one take that worked for this because that was killing my voice. It was so high.
Yeah.
It's one of the last things I recorded, I think because I knew it was going to totally shoot my voice.
Is this what you waited for?
Yeah, I could never do that again.
Is this what you waited for?
Hell yeah.
So you did it. You did it twice.
I guess I did.
It's not. Yeah, I think we made the right choice for the record.
I agree.
But I understand. Oh, bad edit point. Let's just take care of that. Ooh, who did this? Ugh. I'm gonna talk to the mastering guy. We're gonna get this remastered.
We're gonna master it. We'll re-upload it.
Okay.
The most challenging songs came toward the end of the album, starting with what seemingly should be a very easy song, Emphasizing. It's the first taste of the more romantic side of this album and building up love and losing love and dealing with the in-between of all of that. I don't necessarily think this is a good trait, but I think sometimes I wanted to shake people out of their own slumps and be like, look how good you are, look how cool you are. And that effort can sometimes fall on deaf ears, especially when you can't do that for yourself, which leads to the next song, Thoughts Upon a Hill.
Thoughts upon a hill.
This song is the croon for lost love, and also one of my more prideful songs in terms of making things personal. This one really hurt to write and usually hurt to play live too. I don't have a ton to say about this one. I don't even remember writing it. It feels like it always existed. Like I think I just played it so much and felt it so much that it just kind of had its time. It was very therapeutic. And now it's just for someone else. And if that song was about having a broken heart, Paper Crowns is about revolting against the said broken heart, or that person who broke your heart. This one's about, let's be real, this one's just about a breakup. I was angry at a person, and I was like, you suck. That's Paper Crowns. And lastly, Until the End. This one is tough because I think it ties a bow around the whole album, but is mainly about It's kind of about the process of making stuff at all. And it kind of encapsulates the mourning aspect of all this. You know, if all the metaphors are tied together, you know, something has to kind of be lost at the end of this battle, if you will. In the sort of tyrannical war sense, you know, lost lives, and in the more sensitive side, lost love. And I think for me, especially that at that point in my life, lost time. This is a song observing that kind of sadness, that mournfulness, but with just a little glimmer of hope at the end. And there's a little slash in the title of the song that says "What Remains." So if all that was about what's lost, at the end of the album, there's still a little bit that remains. What that is, I'm not entirely sure, and maybe it's not supposed to be defined. And that's everything. That's all the songs. As far as like actually building these songs and doing the recording and mixing, it took about a year. I had little to no experience of organizing all this, and I bit off so much more than I could chew, doing pretty much everything by myself. This is where having a team and a collective of people to help you has become vital to me now, even for just releasing singles. Like, being in a room by yourself, pounding through all this can be a really good experience, but it does not make efficient art. My advice to people trying to work on a really ambitious project like a big album or stuff where there's a lot of moving pieces, overschedule it and then break those schedules where you can. It's really freeing to walk into a space and be like, oh, let's just vibe it out, let's feel how it goes, but that often leads to a lot of not getting stuff done. Overplan, overschedule, and have that freedom to break those plans where it feels fit. Also, holy crap, to all you singers out there, limit your vocal takes. Please, just limit them to a number, set an arbitrary number and stop then. You could always go back and track more if you really need to. But like when you're getting warmed up and you want to just keep singing, you're like, oh, I'll get a better one. You could go through like 30 takes and then you're like comping 30 takes together and it's exhausting. Say I'm gonna sing 10 and then stop for a bit, listen. You might have the take. You very well most likely do. In terms of style, I don't know the next time I'll do something like this, but I really hope to. I love indie alternative rock. I love guitars. I love big tones and big stacks of harmonies and stuff. That whole vibe remains really close to my heart, and it warms my heart that it's also close to some of you too. Rock music's not dead. Anyway, I think I'm gonna end these ramblings here. Those of you who made it this long, bravo. Seriously, thanks for watching this video and being so interested in my older music. I never thought anyone would listen to it to begin with, and the fact that people still are is really cool. But now I really want to hear from you. Talk to me about your process of making music. Have any of you made albums, like big projects? Did you find it challenging like I did, and was it a lot more to bite off than you thought? Let me know in the comments. Also, share your stuff in the Discord. Great place to share works in progress and stuff you did forever ago. And hey, if you're this far and you haven't subscribed to my channel, come on, hit the button. Hit the button. I really appreciate it. Anyway, be well. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.